Hey guys, this is Carrie Rhinehart with 5-Minute Math. Today I'm going to be looking at Algebra 2, Unit 2, specifically the Rational Root Theorem, and that's in Lesson 3 if you're following along in the text. The Rational Root Theorem is just a way of finding all the possible values that could be a root for your function. Now, what does that mean? Okay, well, a root is just another word for an x-intercept. Okay, so it's just saying this theorem just gives you all the possible values that could be an x-intercept for the function you're looking at. All the possible rational values. So that doesn't include if there's, a decimal that's, never ends, that's not repeating, or a radical root, something like if one of your roots or x-intercepts was root 3, it does not include those. This is just the rational value. So fractions, whole numbers, all integers, etc. This will show you all the possibilities for those rational roots. Now, all these values will not be roots or x-intercepts, but if there is a root, it will be one of those values. If there's a rational root, it will be one of these values. And so we use P over Q, and I should put a plus or minus in front of this. Now, what are P and Q? P, okay. Your P is your coefficient of your constant. Okay, so basically it's just your constant. It's all of the factors of your constant. So your constant factors. Okay, constant is that number by itself, no letter. And Q is the coefficient of your leading. It's your leading coefficient, but it's your coefficient of leading variable or term. And remember, the term, the very first term, the leading term, that means the first term in your polynomial should always be the highest exponent. And you want all the factors of that. So, for example, if I have 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 8. Okay, let me get a different color. P would be all the factors of 8. So we're looking at 8 because that's the constant, and we want all the factors, everything that will divide into 8, and that includes 1. So 1 goes into 8, 2 goes into 8, 3 does not go into 8 evenly, 4 goes into 8 evenly, 5 and 6 and 7 don't, but 8 goes into itself evenly. So 1, 2, 4, and 8 are all factors of 8. So those are all of our values for P. Let me get a different color for Q. Q is 2 here, okay, because it's the leading coefficient. It's the variable, the coefficient of the leading term, the first term, the one that has the highest exponent. And we need the factors of 2. Well, 1 goes into 2, and 2 goes into 2. But that's all the factors for 2. So now I need to create fractions out of all the P values on top and all the Q values on bottom. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start with the P value of 1 and do all the Q values on the bottom. So 1 over 1 and also 1 over 2. And we will simplify these in a minute. So I've done all the values with 1. Now I'm moving on to 2. So I've got to do 2 over 1 and 2 over 2. Then I've got to do it with 4. So I've got to do 4 over 1 and 4 over 2. And then 8 over 1 and 8 over 2. Now let's simplify each of these. Well, 1 over 1 is just 1. 1 over 2 is 1/2. 2 over 1 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. 4 over 1 is 4. 4 over 2 is 2. 8 over 1 is 8. And 8 over 2 is 4. So I've got some repeat values in here. So I see 1 in there twice, so I can cross off that repeat. I see 2 in there twice, so I can cross off that repeat. And I see 4 in there twice, so I can cross off that repeat. So all the possible roots, all the possible rational roots for this function, if I were to graph this, the only places that it could possibly cross the x-axis, at least rational numbers, would be positive or negative 1, positive or negative 1/2, so 1/2 or negative 1/2, 2 or negative 2, 4 or negative 4, or 8 or negative 8. So these are all the possible places that that function could cross the x-axis that are rational values. Again, it doesn't include if you've got radical values where it's crossing the x-axis, but these are all the possible rational roots here. Again, this just gives you all the values that it could possibly cross the x-axis. It obviously will not cross at all of these places. It may not cross at any of those places, but if it's going to cross the x-axis at a rational value, it must either be 1 or -1, 1/2 or -1/2, 2 or -2, etc. All right, I hope you guys have a great day.